Today we're going to be going over the truth about Holosun optics. Whether you are new or you've been in the gun community for a while now, you have probably heard of Holosun. This is a company that receives a lot of mixed emotions from people. There's one side of the spectrum where everyone says they are cheap junk and you should never go with them because they won't work. And then there's the other spectrum that says these are the best optics in the entire world and you should never buy anything else because this is the only thing you should look at. So we're actually going to go break this down in this video and go over the truth about Holosun and if their optics are actually worth it or if they're just hot trash. If you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing if you find my content entertaining and beneficial. I greatly appreciate that. A couple of companies that supported and sponsored this video is Brownells and Adams Arms. Brownells is a company that you can use code TA10, save 10% off orders, $150 or more, and I highly recommend you take advantage of that. They did this build with me, which is a sweet new rifle, but you can get the majority of the parts on their website and you can save a decent amount of money doing that. And then Adams Arms makes this rifle here. This is the P2. This is a piston driven system. That's why I have the suppressor on here, because it's a really good suppressor hose, because you don't have the direct impingement, all the gas and the dirtiness that goes along with it. It's a lot cleaner of a system and they work really well suppressed. So this is what I set up here with this one. So they have the P1, the P2, and the P3. It goes into tier systems. So P1 is the lowest, all the way up to the P3, which is their higher end rifle. This is right there in the middle. It's ambidextrous controls, comes with a Radian Raptor charging handle, crisp stock, nice grip, and some backup sights straight from the package, so you're able to use this if you don't want to put an optic on it. This is a rifle that I'll be testing here on the channel. I'll be giving you guys a full review later down the road and letting you guys know my full thoughts on this rifle. But definitely take a look at Adams Arms. And again, thank you to the sponsors of today's video. Let's get right into the video. One of the biggest reasons I hear a lot of people complaining about Holosun is because they say it's not an American-made product and they don't trust anything that's not made in America to put on their rifles. And I absolutely respect that. If that is the way you are and if that's the way you think, then Holosun is just not the company for you, and it makes this decision very easy. Go with an American-made company and find a company that meets all the requirements that you have. But for those of you that don't necessarily care about that, honestly, there's a lot of companies that make products that are not made in America, or if they're not made in America, they have parts that are brought in that aren't made in America. A lot of glass is made in like Japan and China and other places. So it is a little bit harder to find a company that makes strictly American made everything. They're out there, but you usually are going to pay a little bit more. Again, if you're one of those people, that's not a problem. This just isn't the optic or the company for you. Another complaint I hear a lot from other people is Holosun is cheap. And where that is kind of true, they do make cheaper optics. I think that really came from when they started. So when Holosun started, their optics were like $150. They were really, really cheap optics and they were decent. For the price of $150, they weren't bad. There was obviously better things on the market that I would use for like a purpose-driven firearm that I would trust my life with, and it wouldn't have been one of those. But for the price of $150, they did have some pretty solid options like the 503 or the 403. The names of Holosun are garbage and I cannot stand them. They're so hard to know. They have so many optics on their lineup and so many goofy names, but I think it's like the 503 and the 403s, which were like that really cheap price, but they were solid optics for what they were. So here is one of the 403s, and this is the one without the solar panel. So this was like a $140 optic. And again, they were pretty decent for what they are. Comes with a mount. You have the rotary knob. You can also do the buttons. You can get a solar panel. Those things all change the price, obviously. But I really think that's where they kind of got that cheap label from the start, is because when they started, they were on that cheaper side. But then they have come a long way since then, and they have made some pretty dang good optics for a decent price tag. So you're looking at about an average of like $300 to $500 when you're looking at a Holosun optic. They do have some less than that, and they do have some more than that, but that's about your average for your typical Holosun. One thing I've noticed is their prices are going up now, because I think a lot of people are starting to see that they're pretty quality optics for the price that you're getting. So you're starting to notice that all the pricing is going up with the new lineup that they're coming up with. You're going to notice I'm showing you guys a bunch of different setups. Just want to show you some different optics I have from Holosun. This is an offset one, the 509. This is the primary arms combination with them. But I have been running Holosun for quite a few years now. I'd say at least 5 years. Don't quote me on that. I don't know the exact date when I did, but I know I've been running them for a long time. I have them on a lot of different builds. I have their rifle optics, I have their handgun optics, probably had almost all of their optics other than probably like 2 of their lineup. So I've been trying to at least get all of them so I can give you a really good idea, but I've had a lot of rounds through these to be able to give you a good idea of my thoughts. So if you're somebody that would like a solid optic, maybe for a home defense or a patrol rifle, or something along those lines, that it's not just a plinking optic, then I think Holosun is a good option if you go to their middle to high-end optics. I don't recommend going with like their cheapest optics for something like that, but if you're going to be spending the money on like one of the AIMs or the AEMS, depending on what you call it, or the 515, which is on the first rifle that I showed you guys, those are a little bit more high-end. They have a little more features, and they're built a little bit better with better durability, and I would think that's a good choice if you're not wanting to spend anywhere from that $600 to $1,000 price tag, like your EOTechs and your aim points, which obviously the aim point is the one that I would go with every time if you have the money to spend. I think aim point is a great option, but I don't think you absolutely have to go aim point, because I think now that there's these new companies coming out that are creating affordable optics but still not lacking or slacking on the durability aspect and making them worthy of a patrol rifle or a duty-driven firearm. Now, for those of you that are looking for a cheap optic for like a plinking gun or just like a budget build, I almost always recommend Holosun, honestly, because you really can't go wrong with the 403s or the 503s because they're in that like sub $200 range, and they're good optics. They actually are pretty dang durable. This is one of the first Holosuns I ever purchased. It's the 403C, and it has the solar panel, and it has lived on this AK since I have built it, and I put a lot of rounds through this gun, and this thing has been a little tank for me. So this one was actually one of the optics that pretty much sold me on Holosun, is the fact that I've beat the crap out of it for so long, and it's been running really well for me. Definitely recommend them for a budget build. If you can spend over that $500 price tag, I would recommend the aim points and the ones that are a little more proven. But if you're like, I don't really need to spend that much money, I'm looking at like $300 to $500, then I think Holosun's a really good choice. I think Holosun has really proven themselves over the last couple of years of being able to compete with some of these higher end optics, especially with the new lineups they come up with. They have gotten a lot of new optics on their 2023 lineup, along with like night vision, thermal, and a lot of other like pistol red dots and closed red dots. And the good thing that I like about Holosun is they listen to the community. They do a really good job of innovating and trying to be the first to do something. So like their 509T is really sweet. Then they go with the EPS, and then with the EPS carry. So they really have a pretty cool lineup. And now that Radian has did a combination with them with the Guardian, which I'll show you guys some B-roll here and everything. But I think that they have really done a good job of building a lineup of optics that are useful, that people actually want. Everyone kind of goes one way and says, this is what we want. Holosun builds it, and then next year people give them criticism and maybe change it up a little bit, and then they come out with something new. There's some other companies out there that will wait so long and they'll be so late to the party, and it's like, okay, it's cool, but that would have been awesome like 2 years ago. I know you're saying he's just a Holosun fanboy, and that's not necessarily true. I do like Holosun. I'm a fan of their optics, but it's not my go-to optic. My patrol rifle has an aim point on it. My home defense rifle has an aim point on it. The only optic that I have that is a Holosun on a purpose-driven firearm like a home defense or a patrol rifle is this gun right here and my other handgun that's concealed carry. So I have the Hellcat, and then this is my Glock 45, has the Guardian from Radian, the Radian Ramjet, and afterburner combination. Other than that, it's a pretty much base stock Glock 45. So as I do think Holosun is a good value for the money, not a fanboy saying that it's the only optic that I go with, because I go with other optics for those roles, but I do think Holosun has a place. So now that we talked about their optics, they do have more on their lineup, such as IR and flashlights. Now I have had both. I have currently their IR, I no longer have their flashlights, and those are definitely not my go-to. Are they good options? Do they work? Yes, they work, but I think there's better options out there. I always do Surefire X300s or Streamlights are my go-tos for handgun flashlights, and then for rifle flashlights, Cloud Defensive, Surefire, Modlight, Arasaka, all really good. Streamlight, fantastic if you don't want to spend the $300, still makes great lights. And then I have an IR device of theirs as well, and as it does the job and it works, there's much better out there. I've got this D-ball here that would be the one I would definitely choose and recommend for civilian use, because it's just a lot better. But you also got to look in the fact that my IR device from Holosun was like $800. The D-ball is $1,800. So there's obviously a big price difference between the two. But I do think there's better out there, and the Holosun IRs and flashlights are not my first choice. I hope this video was able to help you make a better decision on Holosun and not just listen to either the people that are like, no, they're the best thing in the world, there's nothing better, or the people that are like, they're hot trash, don't ever touch them. Hopefully this was able to give you an honest input on my thoughts on the company. Maybe you have had a different experience, and I would love to hear that. But like I said, I've had at least probably 20 of these optics of different variations. I only had about 2 of them that I haven't had. So I've had a lot of experience on them. I've been asked this question for a really long time, but I didn't want to do a video on it because I just didn't think I quite had enough experience with them to give you my exact thoughts. But now that I have, now that I've been through a lot of their lineup and they just came out with the new ones, I felt like it was a good time to be able to share this video just because it is something I get asked a decent amount is about Holosun and their quality and if it's as good or bad as people say. It's always my goal to help you make a better purchase decision to be able to spend your money in the best way possible, whether you want something or you don't want it. I don't ever want you to spend your money in the wrong way and be like, wow, I really wish I wouldn't have bought that. I actually had somebody reach out to me the other day, which was really cool, and told me, hey, thanks to you, I didn't buy a product. And he's like, I'm sorry to use your discount code and everything and give you money. He's like, it's probably not what you wanted to hear because, you didn't get commission and all that stuff off of it. And I actually told him, like, no, that's exactly why I make these videos. Like, obviously it's a benefit if you guys use discount codes and support the business that way. But the goal of these videos is to help you purchase it or not purchase it. Like, I don't want you to buy something and then be like, that's not what I wanted. And then you have to then spend more money to buy something else that you did want. My goal is to help you make that decision and say, okay, no, I didn't want that. And now I know for a fact that I don't want it. And then you can take that money and put it towards what you want. And in the end, you're gonna be a lot happier. I don't care if I don't get the commission off of it. I don't care if you didn't use my discount code or my links. I'm just happy to know that I was able to help him be happy in the end and get the right product. So if you are looking to help support the channel and do want some discount codes, there are some in the description from companies that I personally trust that you can use to save some money. And there's a link to my link tree from there. There's other links from other websites. If you do purchase using those links, it does help out the channel. A couple companies that support me in the things I do here, Howitzer, Brownells, and Hold Display. Hold Display makes these amazing racks in the gun room. If you guys are interested, check out the video here on my full vault room update. I finally was able to make that. And Howitzer is a clothing brand, donates 5% of proceeds to charity, and they donate over $2 million now, which is crazy. And they just have awesome clothes. They're always changing the designs, and I actually have my own design as well. If you guys are interested in picking that up, there's a link in the description. Thank you guys so much.